Everybody, welcome. Today's topic in our United Goalkeeping Alliance session today is around the technical development of a goalkeeper, as well as the technical review of a goalkeeper. For pre-assignments, we had to review the technical coaches panel discussion with Coach John Bush. Then we had to review the tactical development of a goalkeeper with Coach Tim Wassel. John Bush, 21-year MLS veteran. Tim Wassel, goalkeeper coach at the powerhouse Penn State women's soccer. Today with those two topics, we have Coach Rick Stainton and Coach Mark Litton. Coach Rick is currently the assistant and goalkeeper coach for Georgetown University. He's the former head coach at Seton Hall University, both on the women's side. Former head coach and GK coach with Sky Blue, and now in the defunct NWSL, pardon me. He has a USSF A licensed and is the owner of Stainton Sports in New Jersey. Coach Rick, welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Good to have you. Good to have you. And joining Coach Rick today is Coach Mark. Coach Mark Litton has a 14-year professional indoor goalkeeper coach in both the MISL in addition to the MASL. He's a 10-year veteran with the Milwaukee Wave and has 3 MISL indoor championships while there. He's 10-year goalkeeper coach with the Futsal United States men's national team. He went through 3 CONCACAF qualifying tournaments and also participated in the 2008 FIFA World Cup. He is a USSF B license holder and has his USSF National Goalkeeper Coaching license. Everybody, please welcome Coach Mark Litton. Coach Mark, good to have you.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it, and it's good to be here today.
Awesome. Today we're focusing on those two areas, and I'm going to turn it over to Coach Mark.
Well, welcome everybody to our second session, and just a quick brief recap. In the first session last weekend, we discussed the 5 elements of development: the technical, tactical, physical, psychological, and social aspects of the goalkeeper position. Today, Coach Rick and I are really going to focus just on the technical and tactical, but then also we're just going to highlight specific components. And we're going to start, I'm going to focus on the technical side of handling and diving. So one of the first questions as we think about handling and diving that I ask the group, or anytime I'm working with goalkeepers, when you think about handling and diving, what do you think is more important, your feet or your hands when you're executing any of those techniques? Does anyone have a quick thought on that? Nobody has a quick thought on that. Just remember, folks, your lines are muted.
I think feet are more important.
Good, good. Well, that's right, because if you do not have good feet, they're never going to get your hands to where they need to be. There's a distinctive connection between your feet and your hands. And it's the difference between making an easy save look difficult or making a difficult save look routine. So if you have good feet, you're going to be able to get your hands where they need to be most effective, whether if it's just handling a ball or working through a diving situation. When I think about handling, and I've had a distinctive opportunity, a very unique opportunity in my career where I've focused professionally indoors, I've coached professionally outdoors, and I've also worked with our futsal national team. And each of those areas, we look at handling and diving differently. But one thing that's the same is our planes of movement. And I describe it as there's 3 planes of movement when we think about handling and diving. We have our positive direction, or attacking the ball, where we have our nose over our toes and we're actually moving forward or in a positive direction when addressing either a diving situation or handling situation. Second is a more of a neutral plane, and that's more when we're working laterally across the face of our goal. And then lastly is more of a negative, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's a negative direction where we can equate that at times to being a recovery movement, or at times where we might be called a little bit out of position where we actually have to work backwards, either for a diving situation or a handling situation. So as we move forward, you'll see on this slide, there's a couple of comments underneath handling and diving as to some of the variances. But we're going to be watching some clips of David De Gea, both representing Spain and representing Manchester United. And as we go through these clips, some of the things I want you to think about is, why did he choose to use the technique in each of these clips? What do you think was his frame of mind? Also, what was his body shape? What was his body position? Because that, of course, plays into any of your technical work as well. And then think about also the additional components that also play into his handling as it relates to footwork, his decision-making, his reaction time, and then again, his recovery. And as you're watching these clips, also think about his planes of movement. Was it a positive plane? Was it a neutral plane? Or was it a negative/recovery plane? So if we can play these clips, just take a look and we'll put some thought into that. And that's the first clip. And these are going to go pretty quickly. Second clip. And our third clip, good low hand save. Back across his goal mouth to make a reaction save. Can we go through those one more time? Now, as you're watching these again, just think about what's going through his mind as the goalkeeper when he chooses the various techniques that he's using with handling and diving as to the decision he makes with each of these situations. And then if we could just go through it one more time, and I'm going to add my own comments and dialogue. So in this first one, his body position, his body shape is good. It's a ball that's coming a little bit out of traffic. It's from close range, has some pace on the ball. His decision is to close up his hands and box the ball away. In the EPL, speed of play has a lot to do with how our goalkeepers make decisions, because in a situation like that, that's a ball with pace. It might have been knuckling. If he tries to handle it or catch the ball, it's a good chance he might have spilled it in the goal box, which could result in either a second save or a potential goal. So he made the decision based on his body shape, and his body shape and his plane of movement was really more in a positive plane. So if we show the second clip, it's a little bit more routine. The attacker cuts across. Well, that's the first one again. Going to the second clip. Attacker cuts inside. Shot. Just a nice, easy, simple, low save. Good positioning. It's more of a your neutral type of plane of movement as he's coming lateral across the goal mouth. And it's just a nice, low diving save. He's got his hands on the ball. He's got his body behind the ball. He makes the situation look very, very easy and routine. And now the third clip is a combination save. So again, as the ball comes across, good first time hit. He's got good positioning, good low hand save, gets back across his goal mouth, and we could just pause right there. So on the first part of the he makes a good low hand save, but he identifies immediately the ball does not leave the field of play. It stays in play. So he immediately recovers and he starts coming back across the face of his goal. So he's moving in that neutral position to get back into his best position for where the next point of contact on the ball is going to be. And then the second save that comes out of there, it's more of a reaction save, but he's making that save because of the recovery. It was a bit of a negative type or recovery type save. And if he would not have recovered quickly after the first save and did a little bit of movement back across his goal mouth, there's a good chance, again, that's not going to be a save. He's going to be picking the ball up out of his net. Later on in our presentation today, we're going to be moving into breakout rooms, and you'll have an opportunity in each of the rooms to start discussing some of these variations of saves that you see in this clip, but also as we get into our tactical components, there'll be also some video that you'll discuss as well. But you could see the correlation from, again, just recapping, where I talk about the different planes of movement that goalkeepers go through. His feet are so critical because his feet are what gets him quickly into his proper position, gives him his proper body shape so that he can make that reaction save or make that split-second decision. As we talked about some of the other components, decision-making, reaction time, they all are important components of your handling and diving. So just to wrap it up, those are some things to think about. Other things to think about when you're working on handling and diving, not only in your training sessions, but also in games. You got to think about how the whys and the whens. The how is the technique handled? How are you utilizing your hands? How are you utilizing your diving technique? But also, why are you choosing to use that technique at that point of the game? But then also, when do you use that? There are some balls that we can just move our feet and stand and catch the ball, as opposed to sometimes where we have to leave our feet and make a diving save. So the when also plays into it. So you think of the how, the why, and the when, and you wrap everything together with what we just discussed. So moving on from technical ability, let's introduce Alex back in. I'm sorry, Coach Rick, and then we'll get into our tactical awareness. Thank you.
I've been called much worse there, Coach Mark, so
Sorry.
I appreciate that.
Sorry, Alex Rick. That's your nickname. That I just
That's
gave you
okay.
now.
Two first names are good. Two first names. Well, thank you, and welcome everybody. Definitely excited to talk a bit about tactical awareness, and to piggyback off of Coach Mark and what he was talking about. Something that I always like to reiterate to players is, without technique, there's no confidence. So with technique comes confidence, and then with confidence comes tactics. So, we have to look at some of the technical aspects when we talk about how a goalkeeper could support play in and out of possession. So, for example, the support play, we got to think about a goalkeeper, how they have their receiving shape with their body. How does it provide the most options? How will it allow you to play quicker? You got to think about your prep touches off the different parts of your body, the various parts of your body. And then you got to think of some of the types of passes, the short range pass, the mid range pass, the long range pass. And then what I'm going to touch on quite a bit today is, defending the space in front. Okay. So again, the area that I'm going to be discussing is support in possession and support out of possession. And I'm going to do that with some video. Okay. And the video that I show you here is actually our goalkeeper from Georgetown University. She's a rising sophomore. She also plays for the full team with New Zealand's national team. This was the most recent event, the last event they had at the Algarve Cup. This is versus Italy. New Zealand's in white. So right now they're in possession. So you're going to watch how Anna provides support to receive the ball and help maintain possession for the team here. What I want you to look at is there different angles off the attackers, or I should say off the defenders who are in possession, and how she helps move the ball to help shift the defenders. And then she has different ranges of passes, short pass, and then you'll find like a medium to longer range pass in there. So in white again, you see that she's off angle a bit. She's not directly behind, gives the triangle shape. You could see Italy's not pressing her. There's no option straight ahead just yet. So now she's moving the ball to shift. She drops off to give herself a little bit more space, and then finds that mid to longer range pass there. All right. So this next clip, this time they're out of possession. So as you can see, I dubbed it effective positional play to support. Italy's got the ball. There's no pressure. You can see the back line is trying to hold, because one thing Anna is very good at is covering the space behind the back line. And as you guys become more advanced as goalkeepers, this is how you're going to help your teammates in trying to stay in a compact shape for defending. Okay. So you can see she's outside the 6. She's in a runner stance with one foot in front of the other. Okay. She's aware that the long ball may come. And if it does come, she has to be the one that comes to it. All right. The back line sees it as well and starts to drop, but you can see they're not super deep into their goal mouth here. So her positional play is to defend the space and the area. The area can include to her left and the right, but it's also more important to know where her goal is. So if it is a long range shot, all right, or something that's looping over, she knows she's quick enough to get back. So here comes the long ball, right over the top, just makes the simple save. All right, so this one here. This one is interesting, and I like to see what thoughts are on this, okay? As I told you in the last clip, she is high line. She likes to get off and up on the field. She likes to be connected with her back line. You can see we're in white. They're serving a long ball in. What I do want you to see as it plays out is as the long ball comes, she sees her defenders dropping off. She sees that it's going to be a bit short, but what you do realize is she's still kind of high up. Okay. Now, this is where it becomes important. Okay. Because her defender misses it. Boom. Now, if she wasn't that high up in that moment, okay, really, this attacker has a ton of space to go ahead and penetrate and then finish to her left or right if she really wanted to. But Anna had such a good read that off that miscue, she was able to close it. Okay, get into her little spread. Oh boy, I hate when that happens. Oh. Sorry, guys. Get into her spread, right? Now, she has a defender that steps there, and now she backtracks, okay, to protect that goal. Does anyone want to give me some input on what they thought that was? Was it too risky? Was it smart? Was it intelligent? Was it something that maybe she was caught out of shape, out of position? Anyone?
I think that it was a smart decision because it seems like she's fast enough where if that defender does get that ball, she's able to get back on her line and be able to like still be in that play to maybe receive that ball and play out to the other side. And like that just fact of her being able to clean up that ball always if she's always coming out like that.
So that's a great response, which I truly appreciate. But what do you think some of her cues were to make some of those decisions? And what I think by cues is what did she see or notice to make her make those type of decisions that she had to make?
It was partially like her defender, her back was kind of turned to the ball, and then when she received it, the ball got trapped under her feet, and she wasn't able to play that ball as quick as she could.
Okay, so the initial ball, once that broke the plane of the defender, she realized she was close enough to do what? Close the space, correct? Which put the attacker back under pressure. Now her defender was able to support. What caused her to drop off at that moment?
That ball getting played backwards.
Yep, or the attacker showing her back to the goal, correct? Okay, so we already had the defender that was applying pressure. She had that support. She knew she had to become supportive again and protect the main area, which was the goal at that time. Very well done. And then my last.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say something like the flip side. So what came to mind for me was like, what if the defender had controlled it properly and then the defender needed some support, and if she was really that far off her line, she wouldn't have really been able to provide any support because she's so far off her line that even if the defender plays it back to her, she has no time to do anything with it. But I think her decision was a good decision, but that's just like a flip side.
Well, no, I love what we call devil's advocate. That was great. And in that clip, it was very tough to see what her movements were like prior to closing the space to make the save. But she was actually retreating. And then what she saw was, because of the way her body shape was, that she had the opportunity to close it because her defender did not get it. So if her defender was close or her defender won it, she was actually in good body position to continue dropping and provide that outlet resource if they needed. But that was great to look at it in a different avenue or a different light. And that's why, you know, what we do is so great, because there's so many different situations that could cause many different decision-making topics. All right, so I know I got to move on to the last one here, and it's understanding when to come and when to stay. This clip we show you because red is Spain, white is New Zealand. They just played a ball over the top here to their striker, and it got behind the back line. I want you to watch her movements as they go towards goal. All right. So can someone answer for me quickly, what part of the field was that ball played into?
The flank, like in
So-
between the center.
Maybe like a half space.
Yep. So it was into the attacking third on the wide area. You guys all agree with that, correct? So
Yeah.
she made the decision she couldn't get out to the ball. There was no way she could help her or support her defenders in the way of just cleaning that mess up. It was too close to the striker, right? She had some defenders that were still retreating. They had some yardage that they had to go ahead and attack. So she decided to retreat. And when she retreated, if you notice, she actually looked over her shoulder to see where her near post was, and she referenced the center of the goal. Her angle came off the center of the goal, and you could even see it after the save. She's still kind of in that position. Whereas the striker went at her, she closed the space. And did you notice that she made a decision of when to close the space? Does anyone want to talk on that?
I think when the attacker started to like kind of get closer and took a bigger touch, and she realized that she had
Yes.
the speed, confidence to be able to go down and close down more space, she decided to.
Yep. Well done. So she noticed the touch, right? She closed it a step or two, right? And then she got into her set position when the striker was about to do what?
Like the ball.
Shoot.
When she was about to strike the ball. And then she reacted with the appropriate save. Okay. So my last one, I'm going to stay away from it. It's going to be defending set pieces. Okay. We're going to have that conversation in a breakout room. So that's why we're going to save it for you there. What we're going to do now is get into breakout rooms to discuss the technical and tactical areas. You guys, we're going to review the videos just real quick again. Okay. I'm going to show you for the tactical aspect some Aubrey Bledsoe videos. We're going to look at the De Gea videos that you just saw. And we're going to break you into 6 different groups. 3 of you are going to look at the technical aspect of your clips with your coach. And then 3 of you are going to look at the tactical aspects with your coach. So they're going to drive the conversation, but we want you to make sure that you're taking a look at all these videos and having an idea of each so you can discuss it. Okay. This is going to be a technical video. Technique. Okay, that's going to be group 1. Here's group 2. Here's group 3. This is the double save. All right. Now we're going to go into the tactical. This is a corner kick. This is Aubrey Bledsoe in the goal here. So how is she supporting her team off of a set piece situation? Okay, and this is going to be group 4. And then this is going to be group 5. Again, Aubrey Bledsoe. Oh, and this is 6 as well, 5 and 6 groups. Okay, so what's going to happen now is Coach Sam is going to assign you a room. You're going to accept that room. You're going to have Coach Sam in group 1, Coach Taylor in group 2, Coach Russ in group 3, Coach Jason in group 4, Coach Bill in group 5, and Coach Ryan in group 6. And then Eric, you want to say something?
I just want to do a quick introduction of those 6 coaches. If y'all
Okay.
can give me 30 seconds, that's all. Coach Sam Gribowitz is the goalkeeper coach at California University of Pennsylvania for the women's goalkeeper team, for the women's team, excuse me. Taylor Thames is the Army West Point men's goalkeeper coach. Russell Dishman is the United States Youth Soccer East Region ODP goalkeeper coach. Jason Long is the goalkeeper coach at Reading United AC in the USL 2. Bill Bertner is a director of goalkeeping at a local club here in Pittsburgh. And Ryan Gotta Thompson is with Austin Bold FC. He is their goalkeeper coach, and he's also a former Jamaica international goalkeeper. Thank you for the time. Coaches, when you go in, first thing, please start to assign who's going to say what upon your return to the group. Please have all participants put their video on, not off. Money have just their names appearing. Please ask politely for that. And then you guys have your tactical versus technical assignments. We will be in there for 8 minutes all. So please set a stopwatch. Sam, go right ahead. Thank you.
No worries, mate. Okay, guys, here you go. Just click on join when it pops up on your screen. As Eric said, get your cameras on, unmute yourselves, get involved, and share your views on each clip you get given. Enjoy, guys.
Breakout room 5. I thought it was 4.
Me too.
Looks like we have a couple more on here. I don't know if you guys see them too.
That there was great discussion that took place over these last 8 to 10 minutes. We're going to actually start now with providing some feedback from each of the groups. We'll start with the technical abilities or the technical groups that were viewing the De Gea clips. And Sam, if you could start, please, if there was a leader that you identified in your group, if they could share their thoughts on the discussion.
Yes, we are going to let Abby take it away for my group.
Hi, I'm Abby. Okay, so the 2 main points we discussed in the group was set position and that he had his feet a good width apart and his hands were right in front of him, not like too low or behind him. And also we discussed like when to catch the ball and when to hit it out. And in the clip, he hit it out because he like saw the speed of the ball and the traffic around him. So he thought it was the best like idea to hit the ball out rather than catch it.
Right, that's actually good feedback. There's a lot of overlap between all of the elements that are going to be discussed all through the sessions. And even though we're focusing on the handling and the diving, there's correlation to other elements that play into that with decision making. And as part of handling, we've got catching, we've got boxing, we've got parrying, and it's right. You're right. He made the decision based on the elements in front of him, the speed, pace of the ball, as we discussed earlier, and that was the decision he made to manage during that particular saving situation. What else do you think was going on in his mind at the time?
I think like after he like figured out that he was gonna hit it out, like he was like determining what was his next move after that since he didn't catch it.
Right. We don't see the continuation from this, but then I'm sure that he put some of the other elements into play with communication. But you're right, and he was moving in a positive plane of movement, which is part of the physical aspects or physical elements. And I think the fact that if you're watching where the ball goes and the pace of the ball leaving his hands, the choice that he made being in a positive plane of movement got him very firmly behind the ball, as opposed to if he was moving in a negative plane of movement when he tried to box that ball away, he might not have had as much force on the ball, and it may not have cleared the box as it did with that initial contact on the ball. So that, Abby, great answer. Let's move to our next group. And Taylor, if you could please identify who was leading your discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It's Caitlin is going to help us out and summarize what we went over in our breakout group.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. So we saw that he kept like a low position and he got set early, but then once he saw the ball move, he held a neutral movement with the ball and got reset. We also saw that his line of view was pretty open and that the ball was like in the middle. It's not too close, but it's not too far. And once he saw the attacker take his shot, he took an attacking step, but he knew he didn't have to fully extend, so he kept the ball close to him and maintained control.
Good answer. Yes. And if you look at that position right now, it's tying both his handling and his diving together, because you see where his hands are, but it's not just his hands, it's also his body. He has two barriers behind the ball between himself and the goal. So he has his hands, because at times when you're extension diving, you really only have your hands behind the ball. But here, with it being a little bit of a shorter diving position, he's able to get his full body behind the ball. His hands are on the ball, and he covers up really well just to protect the ball and not spill it out. And then again, part of this is, what do you think was going through his mind at this time, and why do you think he chose to do that as opposed to handling it a different way?
Now looking at the time and the score, at first we didn't know whether it was like to slow down the game or if the team was under a lot of pressure. So we thought by him taking his time on the ground and getting back up, it was to relieve some of the stress on the defense, and so that they could like regroup.
You know, you made a really good point. The scoreline, the time in the game, it's so important for goalkeepers to instill confidence in the players around them with the decisions that they make. And he made an easy save. And you think about the pressure that he's under. He really made what could have been a difficult situation look very routine. And that just continues to build the confidence early in a game of his teammates. Now, if he would have spilled that ball or would have been scrambling, you think about how that impact might be on his teammates around him. So his decision, his handling, his diving, it's all very fluid. It's well done. And you know, his teammates walk away having loads of confidence in his abilities at that point in the game. So, Caitlin, thank you. That was great information. Let's move on to Russ. And could you please let us know who was leading your discussion?
Molly will be kind of taking this as we go into it.
I'm Molly. In our group, we basically discussed two main things. One was, in the first save, could he have boxed the ball out either farther or in a different placement? And that was more of a reactive decision that he made. And then the other point we had was that he had a very good set position and was very neutral in his set position, not leaning too far forward and not too far backwards, which allowed him to both get up pretty fast after the first save and recover in time to make that second save.
Good. That's absolutely spot on. And as I was describing the clip earlier, you know, he's in a position, and we also have to think again about, he has bodies in front of him, so his line of sight on the ball off the initial shot may not have been clear. He may not have a direct line of sight on the ball. Plus, he hits it first time, which, as in a run of play, when a player hits a ball first time, at times goalkeepers aren't completely set and ready. I loved when a player would receive a ball and they'd take a first touch, because as a goalkeeper, that would give me time to set and get a better position, as opposed to moving across and then a ball being hit. And then you're right, then the reactions come out. He had a strong low hand save, but then he also identified that the ball didn't leave the field of play. So if you looked at his positioning first, he was covering the front post and what we call the front goal. And it wasn't until the ball was served over that he turned his hips, he moved, as you said, neutral or lateral across his goal mouth to anticipate where the point of contact on the next ball would be, and then made a great second save, one-handed reaction type save. So great identification of all the different components that are made up to that, into that. Now, just recapping again, Molly, was there anything different he could have done in either of those two situations?
On the first save, potentially he could have either hit it a little bit farther and gotten more like oomph on the ball, I guess, or he could have placed it in a different direction where there wasn't as much pressure and there wasn't the opportunity for the attacking team to get such a quick second shot.
Right. Thank you for adding your thoughts, Molly. That was good feedback. Rick, would you like to move on with the tactical groups?
Yes, thanks, Coach. All right. So again, we're shifting from the technical aspect. As we know, there's technique involved in everything we do. So there's a lot of technical aspects in what Aubrey is doing in regards to this corner kick situation. However, we want to see tactically, how is she supporting play? Okay, right now her team's out of possession. What can she be doing? So if we could start with Coach Jason, can you provide us some dialogue? Appoint whoever you did, please.
We appointed Jacob as our leader, and we discussed this clip a little more about how she has this set up, because it's more of a rush from the 18, and then it also moved into different types of corner kick setups, attacking the goal, and what we would do in that situation. So Jacob, go ahead.
Kind of just like the fact that instead of them like man marking everyone on that corner, they kind of have them roaming inside that 6, waiting to pick up those runners instead of getting blown by in case they were faster than them. And then we discussed like things like making sure everyone is marked on those corners, recognizing like what type of corners they've been taking throughout the game, like different words to use in those corner situations, like that vocabulary, mark up, mine, away, step up, being strong in the air on those corners that come in high, and clearing your area after, like, so either you say like you clear a ball or a ball goes over your head and like your defender clears it, and like making sure you get everyone on your team immediately back up.
Definitely appreciate those responses, Jacob. Very well thought of. So you touched on a couple things. First thing was the organization. You were mentioning that Aubrey had to look at who was going to be marked up, how they were going to defend. You know, obviously this is probably a team situation where they go zonal plus some man marking here. Okay. One thing that you do notice is there's one player here. All right. So when we talk a little bit about tactics, what do you think about her situation in regards to that one free player?
We discussed like how some keepers are like fine with having one person on them if they're confident that they can win that ball in front of them, and then how sometimes you'll need that other person coming up to mark them if you're not either as strong as them, as tall as them, as fast as them, and like making sure they can't get to that ball first, and making sure you can take care of everything else instead of worrying about that one player over there.
Great. Yeah, usually when you see a situation like this, the goalkeeper is very confident that she can take care of that area herself, even with that pressure there. Obviously,
hey, can I get a point?
Yep.
It's right. This specifically about this. Jacob, you actually mentioned, I'm not calling you out, but you specifically mentioned that you like to put somebody on that player. Is there a reason why?
Not really. It's just like I want to, like, instead of worrying about that one player on my hip, I want to be able to like worry about everything other than that instead of being focused on just that person there.
Okay.
And another food for thought for that, Jacob, is you bring another defender in. What does it do to the goalkeeper?
It gives them like room to space up, you know, like kind of move around more instead of having that one man tracking them that whole time.
So my point to this was you bring another player, it crowds the space a little bit, right? So she probably wants to create her space, worry about that defender there, attacker, excuse me, and take care of it herself. Yeah. Tactically, how about her starting position as well?
Hold on, let me. as there, like, since there's someone on the back post there, she doesn't have to like drop off as far. And so she can be more stepped up on that front post, because if that ball does go over her, she has 2 players behind her ready to clean that ball up.
Okay, so she's probably trying to shore up the near post. It could be a
Yeah.
scouting thing as well. They might try to drive it. She does have the back post support. We could also get into the technical aspect about how her stance is at this point. So some really good responses. Let's move on a little bit so we could see it. All right, so now she's probably communicating. What do you think she's communicating at this point to support this play?
When that ball in the air, maybe step up a little bit, get off that front post, force that person on her offsides.
Yeah,
in case
it's simply probably just away too, right?
Yeah.
Right, and trying to cue her players to say, hey, put it high, far, and away, because now they're in a dangerous area. Good. All right. So now ball comes out wide. Again, what did she do to help support the defenders right now? She moved her what?
She moved her set position over, covering that near post more.
Yep. So she reorganized her angle a bit. Okay. Now she's covering what's considered the second goal consideration. All right.
Yeah.
So now she's shifting. She's probably telling the defender, close that down a little bit, maybe deny service, so forth and so on. All right. Ball gets played across. Again, what'd she do?
She collects it, then immediately is getting everyone right back up.
Yeah. So she's looking for counter attacking measures now, right? You could tell by her body language and her movement. Can she get this ball in behind and beat the numbers that are stuck in the box right now? Jacob, well done. I know we put you on the spot for some good stuff. Well done, kid. All right. So Coach Bill, we're going to go on to your clip. Do you mind telling us who you appointed?
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, we had some really good discussion on our clip, and we appointed Maya to talk about it.
Hi, Maya.
Hi. So we said she tracked the ball well, having good spatial awareness, and proceeded to back off the ball, or the decision to go out for the ball, because she noticed the pressure being provided by her defenders. Then shifting her focus to a cross or 1v1. And the most important part next was the communication she gave to her back line, showing support and being mindful of the tone of her voice, whether it was more panicky or calm.
Okay. So some great points again. Okay. Again, we go to the communication. Something that we always discuss when we talk about communication is trying to be clear and concise. All right. I call it white noise. If we just continue to kind of blab on, say, good job, you know, things of that nature, then, you know, the defenders tend to tune that out. So you want to be clear and concise. So she's probably telling this one defender to, if she's in a 1v1 situation, probably to delay and deny, right? Try to reduce the opportunity of getting that service off. Okay, probably in transition, she was telling her outside back to get tucked in a little bit more, telling her center backs to drop off. So communication was probably clear and concise. You see her focus. Now, how about her movements, Maya? What do you think about her movements?
She started kind of moving like towards the ball and like cutting or like getting ready for that space that the ball could be played across.
Okay.
But keeping her body kind of, because the defenders, their bodies were facing towards her goal. So she was trying to be mindful of where the ball could go with that.
So right now the ball's kind of going out wide, correct? So there's really no reason for her to drop back and off. She could come and cut that center of the goal because the ball's coming wide and she's got a defender recovering. Good. So now that attacker gets behind. What's happening here?
There's more space in the middle and people started kind of dropping in, and she's keeping her body and shoulders square to the ball.
Good. So now defender breaks in. What's her movement like? What's her next consideration, would you say?
Probably like the cross, maybe like across her 6, so that she could cut off that angle and from her near post, or even, like the near post, or even like back across the 18, so that she could drop off but be off her line.
So Again, good stuff, right? I know we all have different languages. The goal is considered the first goal consideration. You're always going to protect that. So now she gets in behind. She's got to protect what's considered her second goal, which is from the post out towards the 6. So now you see her protecting that second goal because she could go ahead and squeeze it in. But at that same moment, she's going to try to deny that cross as well. So third goal consideration is anything over to the far side there. Okay, good. So the ball starts to go back. She's probably communicating what you think at that time. You're muted, Maya.
Sorry. To press up, like tell her defenders to go up and press that ball to try and close down space and prevent a ball through.
So she's probably communicating someone to try to put pressure, but you see the distance is quite big. Now you're going to see her stance. She's going to be responsible for what tactically you think if her back line's stepping up at that moment?
The space in behind.
Yeah, the space in behind. Good job. Okay. And in this situation, she's facing, the attacker's facing the goal with no pressure. That back line better be ready to deny, right? They shouldn't be just bull rushing up, because then anything could slip in, the attacker could slide and give you opportunities. So hopefully she's communicating like something to the degree of, you know, hold there, so that they're not all bull rushing at that time. And then probably simple, a little away call. Great job. Coach Ryan, anything to add? You guys had the same clip.
Yes.
Good job, Maya.
Thank you. We covered the same clip, and Veronica is going to take it away. She's going to sum up everything.
Great.
So we were discussing how when the play did start, we see that she's following the play, and then as she's moving, she's going to a positive position on her front post, so that when she knows she can take that step to cover her front post, or she can cover that 6-yard line. So that she's shifting, and then she gets to her front post right there. You can see she's in a positive position, still getting ready for that shot. And as the play is developing, she's getting more and more set in her position. But during that time, she's also communicating with her teammates, hey, you need to be here, here, and here. And yeah.
Great.
And then over here, obviously, you're telling her first, you're telling them to step up. And then she's making sure one player or a couple, depending on the situation, they're going to tell her, step on the player. You also don't want to give yourself that situation. And then when it gets crossed in, away, she drops back to her line to give herself space, ready for that shot, and makes the save.
That is a great point, that last point you said, right? She knows she can't get out to that ball. So her movements were back towards what?
To her goal line.
Towards her goal, right? She allowed herself some more space, which gives her more time to go ahead and make that nice save. Well done, Veronica. That's a great job of adding that last point in there too.
Thank you.
So obviously, it looks like we hit the hour mark, and something that we want to do is we value your time, obviously. And we're just kind of scathing the top of this. We could go into so many different technical aspects, various different tactical type of awareness situations. And that's what this whole group, this United Goalkeeping Alliance, is going to start touching on throughout the many, many sessions that we have lined up. But with that said, I'd like to pass it to Coach Eric for some closing remarks. If he's
all right, I was on mute there. My apologies. Before I go over just last minute items for next week's session, I do want to quickly ask Coach Mark. I want to give you 30 seconds to summarize yours, if you could, please.
Sure. And, we covered a lot today on the technical side of it, but just to recap and add a little bit more when we're thinking about the handling and diving components. Handling encompasses quite a bit of what's involved with our hands, from contour catching to boxing to parrying. And you saw some of those concepts being incorporated in the clips with De Gea, as well as the clips that Coach Rick was showing as well. And then diving as well, there's certain techniques that are going to be involved. But the thing I always want to add when sharing information like this with keepers is that they make everything look very easy in these clips. And a lot of that is because of the amount of time they've put into it. So think about the fact that the way you can make things look that routine is you have to take that conscious action where you're really thinking about where should my hands be, where should I be diving, and turn that into a subconscious reaction, so that when you see the shot within a split second, your body automatically knows exactly what to do with its hands, with its feet, if we should be standing and receiving in a contoured catch, or if, you know, taking a power step and diving to make our save. So those are some of the additional aspects when we think about the handling and diving as it relates to our technical abilities. So I hope that this part was informative and educational for all of you.
Excellent, excellent. Coach Mark, Coach Rick, I want to thank you. So if we all could, guys, could we give a golf clap to Coach Rick and Coach Mark, please? I would also like to extend my thanks to Coach Sam, Taylor, Russ, Jason, Bill, and Ryan for your work in the breakout rooms. Thank you very much. Again, golf clap to them, please. And lastly, just some follow-up items. First and foremost, we appreciate your participation. This group of coaches is growing wildly. We're up to 40 plus coaches, and we are looking to make these a regular event. You guys have the schedules for 2021. Currently, to Coach Rick's point, we are looking to do the overview of the 5 elements of development in December. These will be our building blocks, because every single topic we discuss going forward after December, we're going to jump into and get deep into the specifics of these elements of development. For instance, January's communication. It's all we're going to focus on, but we're going to focus on the tactical element of development regarding communication. We'll speak to the technical or the physical. Is there a social element? Is there a psychological element? What are they? Why? We're going to dive deep into those communication methods in January. But before we do, next week, we are going to be discussing the psychological, social, and physical elements of development of a goalkeeper. We'll have Dr. Bill Steffen, who is a professor of sports science at Wingate University. He's also a USC, United Soccer Coaches, senior national staff member. We will have Ryan Deffabaugh of MBS Consulting Services for performance consulting agency for sport athletes and adolescents. And we'll also have Jesse Goldman, who is the Northeastern University goalkeeper coach in the men's program in Boston. He's also the owner of Goal Line, which is a speed and agility business run specifically for goalkeepers. You'll also be receiving a Survey Monkey for the sessions this weekend. We appreciate your feedbacks. It does allow us to craft our upcoming sessions. So if you have things in here that you like, please let us know. If you have some things that you'd like to see more focus on, that's welcomed as well. Again, you are our client, and we are looking to make these very user-friendly for our end users, in this case, our goalkeepers. Guys, from me to you, thank you very much for your time on this Sunday. It's greatly appreciated. These will be recorded in December, and only paying customers in January will receive the recordings starting then. Any questions?
And Coach Eric, if I may,
Yep,
real
right ahead, quick. Yep, Rick.
Just as a closing, if we can, if you have your cell phones next to you, just to see for our planning purposes and awareness, if you could go to www.menti.com, and then you're going to enter code, which is on top here, 840151. Again, it's on the top of this slide, 840151. And what we're going to do is build a word cloud. It's going to ask you for 3 responses to the question of what are the different components of handling and diving. And we just want to see maybe what you grasp out of the ideas today. Let me go back. Were you guys able to do it? All right. Well, doesn't look like it worked again. Oh, I did get it. Hold on. Here we go. Are you guys seeing that on your screen? No? Eric, I can't see you. Can you see it on your screen or no?
No, I cannot.
Oh, okay.
Try and share your screen again, Rick.
What I'll do is I'll read it off here. So footwork was the most important. Set position looked like the next important thing. Hand positioning, body position, hand shape. All right, those were the next. Then it followed by communication, physical capability, decisions. And those were the big prominent ones. So good stuff, everybody. Appreciate the insight on that.
Awesome. Guys, again, I just want to conclude with a thank you. You know, we are doing this as a resource for all goalkeepers. And if there's anything that we can do to make this better for you, more interaction, more video analysis, more presentation, more information for you, you let us know, please. You'll see that survey come out later this afternoon or later tonight, excuse me. Again, everybody, thank you very much for your time today. Have a great week and we'll see you all next week. Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Coaches,